in reference to what occurred here in New York, one of these incredible twists in history, as we're familiar with, this Mamdani that is sitting here discussing about what the future has in mind for New York, the most populated Jewish place after Israel in the world. I think we have to mention something about what the Arabs stand for and understand that this is just another piece in that puzzle, which is extremely connected to Parshas Vayera, because if anyone ever paid attention, we always see Yishmael having something to do with a bow and arrow. In as much as Esau is always Becharbecha Tichya, and it's always referred to the power of the sword, Yishmael is never referred to as being utilizing as having a sword. He was busy always with a bow and arrow. We find that Rashi tells us that when he was mitzachek and he was making fun of Yitzchak and playing around with him, it doesn't say that he was sitting and piercing him with a dagger. It says, "V'yotzim l'sadav v'notel kashtoi v'yore bochitzim." He would take his bow and arrow and he would shoot at him arrows. And he says, "Kimit laheh yore zikim." All the time he was busy with arrows. Ad kedei kach that we even find when they were in the desert and Hagar, the mother of Yishmael, pushes him away, which is in the DNA of the Arabs, that their mother is happy to send away her son to go ahead and get killed because they got it from their mother Hagar, that also pushed him away. She went far away from him. The reference again is to a bow and arrow, a difference of a distance of a bow and arrow. And the question why? Why the change from a cherev, which is usually used by Esau, to Yishmael being a keshet? So the response and the answer that is given for this idea is an important one, because the face-to-face combat that we had with Edom, with Germany, and all those that had to do with Amalek was direct. But when it comes to Yishmael, it is a different type of battle. It is a battle of keshet. The way the bow and arrow works is from a distance. It takes precision, and it's hiding from behind the scenes, and you can't see where it's coming from. But when it hits from behind, and you're not able to find who the culprit was. It works in a very clandestine and stealthy way, in a way you don't know. Rashi himself also brings in our parsha. One of the things that Yishmael did, when the pasuk says Ba'asher hu sham, it says, because in the future I know what they're going to do. When we wanted to go into Eretz Yisrael and we tried to tell Esau, please let us in, Edom, what did they do? They came out with their swords and said, put up your dukes. You want to fight? I'm willing to fight with you. And that's it. They said, you want a milchama? That's it. Face to face. But they didn't do that. They came out with nice nodot, the skins full of water, and they said, please drink, and this. And they gave us very salty food in order that we could feel thirsty before we drink. And they gave us these salty foods. We took the pouches in order to be able to drink, and it wasn't full with water, rather it was full with air. It caused an abrupt amount of air to come into the lungs, and they ended up exploding. That's what it says here. And it ended up saying that that's what it ended up, what happened to us. Orchot dadanim, not madanim, dadanim. That's what it brings in the Rashi. Right? Madanim. Mamdani. Sorry, but it's almost there. He says, Dodani Yishmael v'yirachmu aleim. That's what happened. This is the yesod behind Yishmael. The people that work and carry in ambulances their missiles, the people that hide underneath hospitals in order to be able to shoot their missiles in order that we can do what we could. I heard that recently, that he's building his office underneath of the Children's Hospital in New York in order to make sure to keep to the Arab way of doing things underneath hospitals. And by the way, I heard that there's a number of people in Gaza that are going free, that they're looking for a job. If there are any more mayor positions somewhere in the United States, they're looking for a position. The way that they work is through this, and that's what we see slowly creeping into Europe. And as much as we try to hold our bars up in other places, such as America, in order to avoid their interesting crevices, but slowly but surely they're popping up in a way that is unprecedented and unwanted. The idea behind it is not fear, not pachad, not wondering, but bittul, to understand that here we are and we know that there is only one place to turn. When we see things like this happening, it's time to make us realize, well, we have a face-to-face battle, so we suddenly know we can add a little bit more iron, tanks, and planes, and we can do it. But when we're not facing anyone face-to-face, when it's a hidden, clandestine type of fight and we don't know where to turn, suddenly we realize there's only one direction to turn, and that's the koach of our tefillot, the power of our prayer, on the power of our intense change that we do within ourselves, that B'ezrat Hashem, that will be the means to be able to realize that it's only in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of God.